He is the embodiment of every prophet in the Quran and the King James Version of the Bible, whichever one you want to choose. He's all of them. And all you got to do, don't look at his form, look at him in Scripture. And you'll see him right there, bold and clear. I speak of none other than, our illustrious leader, teacher, guide, friend, and confidant, our champion, the Honorable Minister, Louis Farrakhan. All praise is due to Allah for that wonderful, wonderful, beautiful human being. He is mercy in our midst. Because he's still among us, that's why the enemy hasn't come straight out to take us out. Because he's after us. Now people say, well, they after Farrakhan. No, they after us too. And especially if you're a believer. But the thing of it is, if you're not a believer, because at the time in our lessons, we were asked a question, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was asked a question, how many original Muslims are there in the hills of North America, in the wilderness of North America? And his answer, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was 17 million. With the 2 million Indians, makes it 19 million. All over the planet Earth, 4,400,000,000. So wait a minute. Here we are in 2025. We ain't in 1934. We're in 2025. There's between 45 and 50, and maybe a little more than 50 million of us right here in the hills of North America. Muslims. So it'd be because you don't have to wear the label to be that. God already said the people he was looking for is in this 2,000 by 3,000 mile border called America. So if you black and you're in America, you're a Muslim and don't even know it. That's if you haven't accepted the teachings yet. So this teaching is for all of us. So all we got to do is come on, get on board before the wrath comes down. Because when the Honorable Louis Farrakhan leaves, the enemy gonna come full force. But feel comforted, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us through the ministers, he said, they'll kill about 300 of us, maybe, before Allah kills every one of them. Now, hold up, let me talk about what the 300 might look like. Y'all saw the movie 300, right? Yeah, you know, about the Persians, but that was really us. It was black men. They had them white boys all bronzed up in the movie, but it was really black men that fought that war, the 300. But he said they'll kill about 300 of us, and Allah gonna wipe the slate clean. They're gonna get done. All them bombs and stuff they're talking about, and the planes that they got, and what they want to do, The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when the battle in the sky starts, they're not gonna even be able to get their planes off the ground. So he said, if I was you, if I was a white man, I would just lay down. Just lay down. And you know how they do it in the mixed martial arts? Tap out, because you can't win. That's right. It's a done deal. Just give in, give up. Well, anyway, this is where we are, dear family, in our history. And I have to lift those three, because those three are not the focal point. It's you and me. Because we've got to be lifted to where they are in our activity. We've got to go and get our people. We can't take it lightly that we can just sit back and, hold a seat. It's a job for everybody to do. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, big fields await the wide awake man and woman to work out. So we got to do some work. We got to bring our people in. Every seat in here people should just be here. But we've got to be the warners. So enough of that. I just want to thank you all for being here on time this morning. Thank you for submitting to our check procedure, for it's very necessary. For again, we are living in diverse times and people's minds are twisted. And everybody don't process information the exact same way. Two people can look at the same thing, and see it diametrically opposed. One sees good, another one sees evil. And then if you see evil, you feel insulted, and now you want to respond carnally. And if you got a weapon on you, then you feel emboldened that you can do something and nobody can do anything about it. Well, that's why we have our check procedure, because we want each of you to feel comfortable as the weight of truth comes across this rostrum, and you don't have to look behind you, beside you, or in front of you and think that somebody's going to do something because they disagree with what's being said. Y'all all right? Yes, praise be to Allah. The Final Call newspaper. We've got to get it, family, because it's going to bring us up to date, right down to the modern times of what's going on. We're going to see scripture unfolding if you just read the Final Call, because these current events bear witness to what's going on, which leads me right into the little short talk that I'm going to, by the grace of Allah, try to get across this morning. We look at all of the things that are going on in the news, and it seems like America and Israel, they just dominating everything. It seems that way, don't it? Yeah, well, that's the illusion. You know, if you ever seen a magic show, none of that stuff is real. You just don't know how it was done. It's an illusion. It's to deceive you. And we are under a great deceiver. They're making the whole world think that they got the power. Well, we recently had a panel discussion about the vision-like experience of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from September the 17th, 1985. And he came back and told the United States government what their plans were, and he wasn't even invited to the meeting. So how did he know? He said, Allah gave it to him through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the wheel. And we can prove that in no limited time. That's not my subject. I'm just putting it out there as a backdrop for what I want to read. Now you have the United States, Israel is bombing the people in Gaza. Look and listen to this. I want to start with a scripture from the Holy Quran. It's called Al-Fil, the elephant. And it deals with, now you know what the elephant represents in this dispensation time, the the Republican Party. Well, really, it represents them too, because the only difference between the two is the spelling. So you could call them Republicrats. Because they got the same agenda. They're all rich, they're all powerful, and it's a script that's being acted out to deceive the 85%, the unlearned masses. But they can't fool the 5% of the poor and righteous teachers. That 10% can't do that. Why? Because we got a teacher that's telling us everything that they're doing. Y'all all right? Walk with me. Listen to this. This is in the elephant. It says, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, hast thou seen how thy Lord dealt with the possessors of the elephant? Did he not cause their war to end in confusion and cast against them birds and flocks, casting at them decreed stones, so he rendered them like straw eaten up? Now, this narrative or this chapter in the Quran comes from a time, it was during the birth of Prophet Muhammad, and there was a man named Abraha. I guess you could call him Donald Trump. But Abraha, what his thing was, he was a Christian viceroy in Yemen for the king of Abyssinia. And his thing was, he wanted to go into Mecca and crush the Kaaba, which was at the end of the holy house. But because Prophet Muhammad was just born, the Arabs were, even at that Kaaba, they were doing a lot of idol worship in there. Well, anyway, this is part of the history. And what happened was he went in, and they say that in that history, the reason this chapter is called the elephant, because when he went against Mecca to destroy the Kaaba, there were, at the presence of at least 2 or more elephants that came into battle. They were going to knock down the doors and destroy it. And the whole reason was he wanted to deflect or deter the people from coming to Arabia for whatever, his reasons were. He wanted to deter them because he wanted them to follow them. He wanted the trade, he wanted the money. And this is what you see today. The rulership today, everybody that they're killing over in the East is about the money and what the land produces, and they don't want to get the people a fair market value price for it, but they want to just go in with their war machines and take it. Just kind of thug it. You know how criminals are. They don't want to talk to you civilly about it. Well, I got muscle. I'll go in and I'll take it. And it goes on, and it says that there was a man named Abu al-Matalib. It said to Matalib, he did a prayer. He said in this prayer, said, O Lord, defend, O Lord, thine own house, and suffer not the cross to triumph over the Kaaba. He said, and Allah caused a pestilence, a virulent form of smallpox. I guess in a modern context, that'd be COVID, right? I'm showing you this it sounds historical, but it's really pointing to what's going on right now. So just walk with me. So he goes on, and it says that the army, even though they outnumbered the Meccans or those at Mecca, it turned them around. And he said that in some cases, Allah used weather. There were even floods that came through and washed some of them away. But a lot of them died in the valleys that were in that area, and they never made it back home. So he caused their war to end in confusion. Such is going to be today with the people that we are dealing with. So let me go back real quick, dear family, to the Final Call newspaper. On page 2, just some of the things that are going on to show you the chaos that's taking place. It says, chaos, confusion among the nations. Get this current edition and you can read up on it. And then on page 9, the U.S. government does not care about your life. Y'all knew that, right? Okay, let's walk on. It said the student movement for Palestine persists despite intimidation tactics. And that's on page 12. All this is leading up to something. So walk with me. It says U.S. Israel seeks to plunge region into endless wars. That's in Tehran. And then in Qatar wants Israel to apologize to resume Gaza mediation efforts. All this, and then only a day after the strike on Qatar, Israel launches airstrike on Yemen. Genocide, Israel, and devaluing human life. All these stories are in the final call in real time. But this, and that was on page 14. But this is what it's all leading up to. All of these bad things we see in the final call, look how it culminates. And America hastens on her doom. This is page 19, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, telling you why the doom is they're justified in being removed from the planet because of all the evil they're doing all across the planet, starting at home first. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes on in this article and he says, the ultimate aim of this world should be known to everyone, especially the righteous. We classify the righteous as being the people who belong to the right God, the God of righteousness, truth, freedom, justice, and equality of the nation of righteousness. Today, the so-called American Negro must be resurrected and made to know and understand the fate of anyone who will follow or be deceived by the arch deceiver. The strongest and most powerful weapon the arch deceiver have at their disposal is to deceive the world of righteousness, the Nation of Islam. That's at their disposal. They're after the Nation of Islam, but they won't be successful. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. Let's go on. It says they do not stop at the common ignorant Muslim, but reach also to the scholars and scientists of Islam who should be aware of their trickery and deceit. We are in a world that is passing out of existence, and she is putting up a fight, war, to destroy the nation of righteousness. Be aware, to try to oppose the success of Allah's truth only hastens the doom of falsehood and its teachers. We go back to Abraham. His whole premise was to turn the people away from the holy house. Even though they were worshiping idols there, Allah knew that at some point it was going to be the focal point of that whole area where truth and righteousness was going to reign. And so it bodes true with us in the Nation of Islam. The little tiny Nation of Islam is a thorn in big America and Israel's side. Why is that? Because Islam, in its principle, it makes us not fear man, but we only fear Allah God. That's what they hate, because the greatest weapon in the hand of any oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Y'all all right? So this is what they want. So when you got a man like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaching this bold, unadulterated truth on a regular basis, constantly bold and challenging the powers that be, and he don't waver, he don't back down, he called it like it is, that scares the hell out of them. Y'all didn't think I was cussing, did you? Because we're in a hell of a damn condition. I mean, really, and we need to be uplifted and pulled out of what we're in. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the only one with the arm strong enough to reach in and pull all of us up, put us on his shoulders, get us across the lake or the river, and he won't say, look what I have done. He will say, look what God has done. That's a humble black man. Isn't he beautiful? All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes on. He says, the world of evil makes this first attack on the world of righteousness, thereby clearly showing herself as being the enemy of righteousness. When she thinks she has built up a strong enough force to attack the righteous, she does so, which, as I said before, hastens her own doom. Falsehood cannot be victorious over truth in the day of truth. The resurrection of the day of truth, the resurrection is the day of truth, as it triumphs over falsehood. The arch deceiver force war against themselves. The ultimate aim is to do as their people have always done, try to destroy the preacher of truth and those who believe and follow him. So if you want to come into the ministry today, you got to have a little heart. I mean, if you're a brother, you got to have some testicular fortitude. And if you're a sister, you're in the ministry, you got to have some ovarian audacity. Y'all all right? Yes. That's where we got to go with it. I mean, we just keeping it real, right? So in other words, we got to have some courage to believe that, okay, maybe I look like a zero, but I'm backed by the one God. That moves me to the power of 10. So I can knock down anything to get in my way. That's the kind of courage we want to walk out there with. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. This was the aim of Cain when he slew his brother Abel. Abel, and the aim of the dragon when he sought to destroy the woman, the messenger. And as it is written in Revelations 12:4, the lost found members of the nation should be taught to know the ultimate aim of this world. God has visited them and has prepared a teacher in myself. Today, that would be the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, to teach them, thereby making it easy for them to understand and recognize this world and its secret ultimate aim. It is even given in the Bible, Revelations 12:9, there it speaks of the members belonging to a righteous nation and shows that through deceit, Satan causes them to become as himself against the truth. Peace, justice, safety, and security one would enjoy if he only were not deceived.